Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci fi show where things can get totally radical. Now, today I will be welcoming a figure in the world of horror. Her name is Kitten Rose Ramirez. She does a lot of conventions where she interviews people, and she does, I believe it's modeling or something along those lines. And I'm going to have her on the show today talk about horror and Halloween and stuff like that. And it's going to be pretty fucking sweet, I think. And she's a very sweet girl and all that stuff. And it's going to be great. I just love having horror figures on my show. People who love horror just as much as I do. I mean, it's the greatest thing ever. I've been anticipating this interview for about half a week now, and it's going to go pretty smoothly, I think. So, yeah, here is my interview with Kitten Rose Ramirez. Hey, Rose.
Hi.
How the fuck are you?
I'm doing pretty damn well, man. I'm pretty fucking well. How are you?
I'm pretty great. I'm pretty great.
Rock on. Rock on. Are we live?
Not live, we're recording. It's semi-live, as I like to call it.
Okay. Rock on. Well, hey, everybody. I am Kitten Rose. After Meowstress, the Meowstress of Metal. How you guys doing up there?
Yeah, exactly. What is it that you do?
Oh my gosh. Well, a lot of people actually ask me what books do. So, so I actually am I am Deeden's accredited actress. Excuse me, I'm getting over this weather cold that's been going around in Texas. I'm in Texas at the moment.
Yeah.
I am an actress. I am a pinup model, internationally published. I also do burlesque, which I like to call burlesque, which is a mixture of thriller, gore, and metal.
Uh huh.
I do some like vintage old school when it's appropriate, but I prefer more of the metal with gore and blood and fire and stuff like that. So I also am actually the sex model and brand ambassador of Poisonous Pinup magazine.
Right.
So I travel with the magazine and I do interviews with bands and directors, producers, performers, artists, people like you. I'd love to interview you as well. So, that's kind of like my main baby. And we're coming out with Poisonous Pups so that way we can start celebrating, the men in the world a lot more than the girls. So I kind of do a lot of stuff in photography. I started out in the medical field and had a kiddo and he was a wild teenager, so I kind of had to learn how to do other side gigs. So I kind of fell in love with the pinup life and it kind of took me from there into all of these other worlds. So, I'm enjoying life right now.
Yeah, that's how I found you, was on YouTube interviewing celebrities at conventions.
Yeah, that's my favorite. I love conventions. I love festivals, especially metal festivals. So that's who I am really. I just love to celebrate people. I love to get to know people. I like to know, who they are and why they've chosen to profession. Just give people kind of like a platform to introduce themselves and kind of get themselves out there like this doing, to me. So I love conventions. I go to quite a few conventions. I love to branch out and do more cosplay, more like burlesque, and more stuff like that. But especially the metal. We're bringing metal more into the horror conventions, which is really awesome because it all kind of goes together. And I was recently in a horror music video produced by excuse me, Kovac in Texas, with Flesh Eaters, which is a thrash gore band based out in Dallas, Texas. Because we did like a little movie, a little
Yeah.
One of these days. So, I mean, I've got trauma under my belt. I did a movie with Chad Buchanan in Truman, Texas. It was called Cancer Dancers, but when it got picked up by Trauma, they decided to name it Moonshine Meat Market Mayhem, which is on sale on Amazon right now.
Uh-huh.
And, go ahead.
So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I got picked up by Trauma and stuff like that. So that was like really exciting because
Yeah.
that kind of was like a bucket list in some ways. I love Toxic Avenger and Lloyd Kaufman, who's so brilliant and falls to the wall. He doesn't give a shit about what he says and what he puts out there. People are going to love him because he's so, just, he's kind of like a hero.
That's fucking awesome. That's like shooting heroin with Miles Davis.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this man, I watched a couple of his interviews, and I love how he went off, like on the New York Times because he's been out there forever, and they never really supported him, and he just was like, you guys are just not here so they could support me, and I've been here for all these years. I'm like, hell yeah, because that's what I've noticed. A lot of people in the same city, they don't support their own communities. They're always outreaching for other people in different states and stuff, which is good, but I think one of the main things should be, like, always support your local actors and your local musicians and, models and stuff like that because, they're also small celebrities maybe in their own town, but you never know how big they are in other cities or countries, I mean, I've got fans all over the world for my pinup, and, a lot of them are freaking out because they're like, oh, you want some pinup to do an Olympics, you have an agent? And I'm like, no, I just do it myself. I just connect and network, and it's exciting. It's really rad. I'm like, hey, let's go, let's hang out,
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome. That's kind of how I work. And I was looking at your stuff. I mean, dude, you do a lot of freaking interviews with amazing people, and I was like super sick.
Yeah, I'm very versatile. It did start out that way. It was going to be strictly a horror and sci-fi themed show, and then it got to a point where I couldn't get certain people for a while, and so I started branching out. I do stand-up comedy, so I interview comedians. I have actors of other genres on. I have people of things that just interest me, like sex. I've had a few sex coaches on and porno stars and shit.
Oh, yeah. Dude, that sounds good, like, there's so many genres and so many people that actually do, that inspire and motivate other people in the world. So, I mean, I'm down for all that too.
Yeah.
That's kind of what my magic is coming to do, I don't know, it's such a different world nowadays, and we can kind of do what we want, and, we had restrictions previously a little bit. I mean, my favorite interview, I can't even say. I loved interviewing Ed Neal. He was a wild card with all his different personalities and all his, I don't know if you saw that interview that I did, but I mean, he went into character with like 20 different people, like in under 10 minutes. I was like blown away. Like, I'm not even that badass. I don't think I could ever get to his level, but he did awesome. And Brian Wilson,
Yeah. Robert Brian Wilson.
Yeah, I had him blushing.
Yeah, I saw that one. So did you love horror at an early age?
Oh yeah, my mom. I think she really watched. She watched horror and she listened to rock and roll. And I mean, I just remember Cultural Crypt. I remember the blog. The hair. Toxic Avenger. I mean, all of these old school movies. And my mother made sure that she gave us with the Elm Street video, the Jason movies and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's pretty much all I grew up around. That and just kind of living in LA. That's where I'm from.
Yeah.
My dad worked for General Motors, so it was kind of like, you kind of live in horror. The streets of LA. I mean, it was something that I thought that I would just do, but A lot of companies didn't want to support us out there, and it was just kind of Dallas reason. But he started a thing called Mobland, and I was just kind of like an extra because of my look. And then it kind of spun off, and I ended up doing a movie with Meowstress called Reborn. That's a Dallas-based movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, and I started to like location, and then I got into like some casting. I started working with a couple of people by the name of Justin Howard and his sister. They worked in the industry out in Dallas as well, and Desiree Luna. And so it's kind of like the main people I work with out in Dallas. But they mainly focus on humor and gore, and they do a lot of like out focus and we do mixers and stuff like that. So I've always loved blood and beating people up and doing this crazy fucked up shit.
Yeah.
So when they got me to come out, they lured me because it was at a haunted house. Called Cut Haven Haunted House. And so you kind of cool in the middle of freaking end of December, January, where it's like freezing and we're all wearing skimpy clothes and it's snowing. Actually, in Texas, it does that sometimes. But it was wicked. I couldn't pass up the opportunity on having a pet zombie and pissing on him and wild,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's kind of and honestly, it's kind of the genre that I want to stick with. I know everybody says it's lame and there's no money in it, but to me there is, and everything that we do at the convention, because I don't really see basic conventions going on for just basic acting,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you?
No, I mean, I think horror is just the most awesome thing in the world.
Yeah, I mean, we get to play with blood. We get to work with effects artists from all around the world who are spectacular. I mean, I've been very blessed in this genre, and it's really helped also ego flourish into who she is. So I feel very blessed being able to come out to these conventions and working with my magazine and just celebrating everybody. It's kind of nice to talk to you because you're like-minded like myself. And I'm not as brilliant as you. I don't have a podcast yet, but I try to work on one, and I've just been so busy that I haven't really had time to sit down and do it. So when I do go to conventions, I like to, kind of kill a few birds with one stone and, do some interviews and do some filming and photography and stuff.
Yeah.
Do it on there. So, yeah. So you found me on Facebook or just the YouTube. How did you find me on YouTube?
It was an accident. I just found you. I was coming across. Actually, I think maybe it was a suggestion of some sort because I was watching convention interviews or something along those lines, and I just found you that way and stuff.
Yay! Yeah, I had a lot of fun that year. That year it was, I want to say, the Kovac, he is a frontman for a band called Warbeast and an old band called Rigor Mortis. And I did an interview with him, and Scott Shelby is a part of the band as well. And he actually, kind of helped me and pushed me to pursue really more of my horror side, because they're a horror band, Metal Blast. And I also call him my uncle because, he just always had my back.
Right.
But that was his first to last convention before he got diagnosed with esophageal cancer, which is still battling. I was in cancer with him. And so he and I, we sat down and we talked a lot about, the genre and the conventions and stuff like that. And, he's making a comeback and, trying to stay alive as long as he can to complete a couple more. So if anybody's out in the area, keep an eye out for him, celebrate him because you never know, when you lose somebody. But he's been really one of the main bands, from what I know, that has revitalized the whole metal horror gore industry for a lot of the, music industry.
Mm-hmm.
That's been really huge and taking off. And Robert Mission Hall and Robert type of stuff.
Yeah. What was the first horror movie you ever saw?
Oh my God. I don't even remember last week. Let's see. Oh God, probably, the Nightmare Before Elm Street, I want to say. But I remember seeing The Hand because I remember being in first grade, and there was a huge, the whole Bloody Mary thing.
Yeah.
Well, I went to the Liberty Street Elementary School in Santa Cruz, Los Angeles, and the kids would mess with me and say that there was a hand in the last bathroom stall. So we were not allowed to go into the last bathroom stall. Because if you went back there, the hand was going to get you. So I want to say it was the hand because that was first grade. But, I never went into that damn bathroom stall, I promise you that. But I know that one, stuck in my head a whole lot. So I'm going to say that, and then Nightmare Before Elm Street, and then I remember after I quit having nightmares, we would tease my little brother because when he would act bad or whatever, we would tell him Freddy was around the corner.
Yeah, the first horror movie I ever saw, my parents showed me The Shining when I was like a year or two old, and
oh my God,
scared the shit out of me. I don't know why they showed it to me, and we had it on a Kovac VHS tape, which I still own, but in 1987 we taped it over for Back to the Future, and if you rewind it to the very beginning before the PG graphics come up, you could see Shelley Duvall talking to the doctor, and it's fucking spooky.
what?
Yeah.
Now you're gonna make me go look back and check that out, dude.
Well,
I don't like The Shining. I wouldn't say I was like a teenager when I saw it. I think my sister got scared of it because she's older than I am, and I think she got scared of it. So when my mom put it on, they told us to get out of the room. But I was gonna say there was another movie. Oh God, what was it? I can't even remember. I'm on my way to Dallas actually to do some work. This a director. He's not really in horror, but he works with a lot of actors out in LA and stuff. So I'm headed over there.
Shit, I just wish we didn't get the time zone all fucked up, and stuff.
Yeah, well, I wish I was out there, Kelly. I'm making my way back very soon, so you guys will be seeing me. You have the Rainbow Bar and Grill, lots of whiskey. I wish I was a Viper, but I heard that place closed down. So I do look forward to bartending, guest spots and stuff, so, and burlesque shows and stuff, so. But Cali's my home, I miss it, and hopefully I'll be back pretty soon to be amongst everyone and have good times and stuff like that. So,
I love the Rainbows. I love the Rainbows pizza. Oh, it's so good.
Oh, dude, don't even tell me, Beaver. I'm cool with Ron Jeremy. Every time I come down, Ron always takes good care of me. He's got a pervert to me. He's real down to earth and, a real person to me. So every time I come down, he spoils me and makes sure that I don't have to pay for it. So, thanks, man. And I actually got to interview him in my latest issue, which will be sent out soon. So if anyone's interested in see what I look like, and it's going to magazine. I'm a cover and photos of previous Tips magazine, and it covers the New Jersey Horror Con that we did in Atlantic City at the Sugar Hotel. And I got to interview Ron Jeremy. Oh, God. I got to interview a lot of people.
Did Ron Jeremy take it out?
No, never. He never. I'm okay with that. And it's kind of funny because, I don't think about stuff because I've done good enough. I'm a bartender by trade, and I grew up around boys, and I'm a pet model, so I hang out with car guys all the time. And at the station melody, my mouth is just really dirty, and I don't really think about what I say sometimes. So,
Oh, we're all like that.
yeah, I definitely hang out. Like, hey, blah, I can't believe I've never seen your penis before, And he's like, never? I've never seen one of your shows before. I was like, I don't understand because, I know you for you, but talking or whatever, they're like, oh, he did this or that, but he never tries to do any of that. I actually have a video of me on the Poison Clinic magazine page on Facebook when I'm doing an interview with him or whatever, and he's signing my bra. So just to say, just signing it and just talking crap and just being on journey. I mean, a lot of people treat me with respect, and that's really awesome because that's kind of how I've worked myself into the industry.
Yeah.
And hardcore and pretty brutal. So, respect and, really working hard for all of this stuff is, my focus. So, but he was cool. I got to finally meet Dee Snyder and stuff, and he was pretty wicked. I like going to the conventions because it's like a huge family. So I'm working on a couple more conventions at the moment, trying to get in a few that'll happen. So until that happens, I'm going to give him a shout out. But I'd love to do an interview with you and maybe promote you in the magazine.
Oh, cool. Of course.
The girl comes through to that.
Of course, I'm a
You kind of remind me of the Hulk. Has anybody told you that?
Yeah, I mean, people have called me Andre the Giant and all this shit since I was a kid. I'm a big guy. But, yeah, I mean, I'm a press whore. I mean, I'll talk to anybody.
Heck yeah. So why do you love horror so much?
I love horror because it's just, to me, it represents a metaphor for society and bullshit that happens. And movies like Sleepaway Camp and Carrie I related to as a kid because I was bullied a lot in school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And actually, I was bullied a lot in school. And I still get bullied now, It's crazy because you would think a lot of people would support you in what you're doing and be happy for you, but, it hasn't really happened that way for me. So it kind of triggers you back in the day and gives you more motivation to do it. But I got bullied a lot. I didn't have any boobs back then. I was a big tomboy, and, I like to skateboard. I was sponsored by Embassy Skateboards.
Uh-huh.
And so, I was always, bruised up or smashed up or something, And I got picked on because, other girls got jealous. I was always hanging with the guys. And it was like nothing. It was just like those are my dudes,
Yeah.
And it kind of followed me through high school. And now I look the way I do, and it's kind of it's not as easy as it was before. It got a little harder, because people try to test you and try to play games with you to see, if you're intelligent or, if you've got motives instead of people just being straight up and, ask questions. I'm good at answering questions that people are interested, but I'm just not the type of person to do the roundabout game stuff with. So, I got bullied a hell of a lot. I've been in quite a few domestic, domestic abuse relationships, which has really affected, my growth, in it. I feel like I could have been a lot further along.
Yeah.
I would have had, either been by myself or a more positive, supporting partner, but, like people say, it's hard to be in the industry and have a relationship because, you're always around people or, you're not with somebody who's secure and who trusts you, really hard. So, I kind of got caught up in a couple of relationships like that where I was questioned or people didn't believe me or, people thought I was, sleeping around or whatever, and I wasn't. But you get blamed for those types of things. So it just kind of ends up, going, going down the rabbit hole type situations and stuff. And you kind of have to pick and choose, what's best for you at that moment. And when I was actually filming the Mayhem Meat Market, Moonshine Meat Market, oh my God, it's like Sally sells seashells at a seashore. Moonshine Meat Market Mayhem, when I was filming that, I had a time when I was filming, because my relationship wasn't being very positive, and so it kind of made it a little bit harder and stuff like that. And, that was kind of one of those moments where I was like, is this kind of what I want to do in this relationship, or do I want to, keep going, like, which one is more important to me?
Yeah.
You know, and at the time, my daughter was in high school, so my daughter was important. So I kind of put her first for a while and kind of stepped out of the film industry and started doing more of the interviews and you know, the convention pieces. And that worked for me. And so, but now, like, I'm getting back into the film industry and starting to do more things. But, you know, more of Meowstress is kind of how I'm promoting myself because, you know, she's the most wickedest and most brutal, badass bitch, a.k.a. Kitten. You know, she doesn't take shit, and she's down for whatever, and, you know, she's down for some bloody, spooky gore, you know.
Yeah.
I kind of just, you know, after that, you know, people tend to, you know, kind of put you higher up on a scale, and, you know, when you're around your friends and your family for so long, you know, they don't dissect you, you know, they don't see that part of your life, they just see you for you, so you kind of have to keep yourself balanced and not let your ego get the best of you, because, you know, that can happen when you start to grow and how people tend to treat you during this process. But I don't know. I've just been around just some really mean and nasty people that haven't really supported me most recently as they had when I wasn't really anyone. And so now it's kind of like they turn against me and spread rumors and lies. And I'm like, well, shit, if that's what it's like to, you know, be famous, I got this. You know, I'm used to this.
Yeah.
It still hurts, but it, you know, it still hurts and it still sucks. But, you know, you'll find out who your true people are and who your true family is. And one thing I can say is, you know, the horror gore family of mine, the metal family of mine, you know, they haven't turned their backs. They're still supporting me and pushing me to, you know, keep on doing what I'm doing and stuff like that. Accumulated with a couple of stalkers that won't go away, but, you know, you gotta be prepared for all this type of stuff, you know. You gotta be really mentally prepared because it can really break you and keep you working for a while, and you gotta have a strong support system for sure, you know.
Yeah.
Make sure that you don't turn into a groupie.
A what?
A groupie.
Well, you can't turn into a groupie when you're, you know, you're leading the way. But yeah, no, I'm Tommy Throwback Kovac. I'm a fanboy stuck in the '80s who's not very good with women. That's my persona, you know, and that's the persona that I play and stuff. And I've tried to incorporate it into my stand-up comedy because I was myself on stage for 10 years, and it got to a point where people thought that I really was my character off stage. So I had to like create a persona so people wouldn't think I was a serial killer.
You know, I didn't even think about that. Like, that's a really great way to, you know, because a lot of comedians, you know, they just play themselves. And, I mean, that's kind of cool to, I didn't even think of it like that. I mean, dude, you should totally be on Saturday Night Live with your own persona.
Yeah, well, I got all these different characters. Like I had this one character that I want to play someday. He's a guy who you don't know if he's gay or straight, and bisexuality does not exist in his world. He's either gay or he's straight. It depends on what girl he's around. It's like it's a contradiction thing. It's like I don't know if he sees a girl wearing this certain type of shoes or certain type of nail polish, he totally becomes feminine. Or if he sees this really hot girl that he's into, he becomes an alpha male.
That's why they're involved.
Yeah, like I,
But, I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, I've always wanted to play a serial killer or like a Madam of the Night, you know, like where I took my friend from strip club and lure him and then, you know, kind of do the Jeffrey Dahmer type thing and have, you know, like my girlfriends over at the parties and stuff. I think that would be pretty cool. You know, I mean, it's pretty creative, and I have all these great ideas and stuff. One of my biggest things I love the most are like black and white short films. You know, one of my biggest, I want to say mentor, even though she's not alive, is Vampira. I mean, I love her to death. Like, she was sort of the first, you know, time, and she just nailed, her character with her scream, and, and that's kind of like a show that I'm trying to recreate in her likeness. And I've had, Johnny Kaufman, hey, Johnny, I've had his blessing to do so, but it wouldn't be a vampire type show. It would be a Meowstress show, but in black and white. And, I've got, like, bands, I've got, like, actors, directors that will show up and do the interview, and then I'll have, like, a band play, and then do, like, a little short horror, movie for the fan base and stuff like that. So I've been working on that, getting that kind of written up, and hopefully start that process when I slow down a little bit. So, but I love her. She was awesome, and Vampirella was a huge deal in my life,
Yeah.
Iconic. Yeah, right? I have her costume, so I may be cosplaying her sometime soon at some of the conventions as well. But, I mean, anything of darkness, like I love Ozzy, like I love Napalm Death, like Cannibal Corpse, like, all these bands, metal bands are getting into the horror genre as well, and just, I mean, it's huge, and everybody, like, a couple of years ago just talked negative about it, and I think it's one of the biggest, genres in the film industry that has survived, honestly. I mean, as that continues, I still have a VHS cassette of it from back in the 80s. And everyone's like, how do you still have that? And I'm like, actually, my girlfriend Sabrina knows that I'm a huge fan, of that movie. So she found it and gave it to me. I was like, oh my God! That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I got VHSs too. I used to have a lot more, but I was homeless for a while and I had to get rid of them. But I got eBay to get them back and stuff, even though their fucking prices are rapey and shit.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about your situation. Believe me, I've been close to that. And that stems down from those, relationships that I had. I just got out of a 4-year one, and, that was really brutal. And just being in the industry, you kind of have to, let things go and stuff like that. And just kind of circumstances, you do let things go, and they come back to haunt you. So I kind of moved before moving life, honestly. And I got this stalker that was a friend of mine, and, I guess some people just don't want to let go once things are over, and it just, I don't know, it's pretty scary, like just to be kind of in that world and then having to live that world, but it also is good because then you can, like, write about it.
Yeah.
So, but, I mean, even with that, it's like, when you kind of see your own self in that way, like, I mean, it just completely dragged me down, and I didn't really care about myself. I didn't care if I was alive or if I was dead. You kind of get to that point where you're just like, fuck everything. If somebody that I love treats me like that, then, like, what is my worth? And so that's kind of what came out of for some years. Hitting a rebound, which I don't believe in rebounds, but that's how I was treated, I guess. And just having to go through, like, the mental, emotional abuse of that, it was just so intense, that it just puts so much fear in your life, and it puts so much fear in everyday life. If it wasn't for modeling or working with my magazine, I probably would be homeless too, been pretty fucking close to it. My daughter was homeless, she battled suicide because her dad had abused her. She's in college now, I'm really proud of her. But, a lot of people, they just give up on you when you go through things like that. So you kind of feel homeless, like you're lost and you don't belong. So if it wasn't for my fans and my family, supporting me and just getting me through every day, I wouldn't be here. So I feel very blessed. And I feel really honored that you found me and were interested in me. So.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I've reached out to everyone that is so nice in the horror community and have them on the show and, like, give them a platform for us to talk and be perverts and just laugh out loud.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of networks. I don't know if you've gone down my Facebook page, but I keep my Facebook page very private.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have to at least meet somebody 3 times before I add them on Facebook. It's kind of like a job, major cities. I mean, and it's cool, whatever, because I sell topless images. I'm a pinup model still, so I do sell my topless images to my fans and stuff like that. But it's also about respecting, and I'm still a lady, and I still represent myself as a lady. But at the same time, you know, like, you just have to be very careful who you add on. But if you've gone through my Facebook list, you know, feel free to hit up some of the people that are on there. I have some really amazing actors and a lot of people from the New York part, like Neil Cohen. He just did his book release. Mm-hmm. Excuse me. And his book is called Exit Zero. Right. And he's in New Jersey. And, I mean, it's a pretty damn good book. I haven't read all of it. I'm still working on it. But, you know, I met him, and now he and I are going to connect and do, like, a short movie here soon. So I'm pretty stoked about that. It's like, you know, it's kind of vampire style. So that'll be really cool. A lot of sexy girls and stuff, as always. But, you know, I met him, and I got to meet Father Evil. I never met him before, so that was pretty cool. You know, I mean, the community is so huge, and you would just never think that it was as big as it is, you know, from vendors to even the crew that puts it together. I mean, I can't, let me see, let me grab my magazine real fast. Ryan Scott Weber, he was one of the guys behind the New Jersey Horror Film Fest, and it was a blast, and it was in a great venue. You know, I got to interview Carrie Cahill and Ari Lehman, called himself the first baseman. He was the little boy.
I got a funny Ari Lehman story.
Oh, do you? Oh, Lord. I didn't get a chance to, you know, party and hang out afterwards, but I heard he was a pretty wicked dude, so I'm going to leave it at that. I don't really know much about him, but, you know, I heard he was fun, and him and my partner with Poisonous Lips magazine, Jeffrey Von Gore, you know, those guys are, you know, they're like best friends and stuff, so they're fun. I love my Jeffrey. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be Meowstress and stuff either. So, like, I just give credit to all the people that have really just stayed on my ass and made sure that I didn't give up. Because the industry's pretty fucking tough. And, you know, coming out of my own brand and identity, you know, I'm kind of, you know, making my own splash. And if we were anything that I knew, I mean, I always just thought that I would be in the medical world, you know, or in retail management or whatever. But, you know, the sky's the limit, and you just never know what your true potential is. And you know what? I blame it on pain and suffering. If it wasn't for the pain and the suffering that I've endured, I don't think that I would have really tested myself on this level. You know, like, the more violent and traumatic things I experienced, it was like it was pushing me more to understanding the darker side of life. You know, like, I'm totally obsessed with murder mysteries and stuff like that. So you're hanging out with me on a Netflix night, you're going to be watching murder mysteries or horror movies and eating tacos.
Yeah, mine was brought on by a car accident I had 3 years ago. I spent 30 days in a coma and 5 months in the hospital.
Holy shit.
That's how I'm here right now.
Wow. I mean, that's insane.
It sure is.
I mean, do you mind me asking what happened?
My now ex-best friend, who, by the way, is a piece of shit, he fell asleep at the wheel after I fell asleep in the car because we were both drunk off our asses. We ended up in the middle of the road. We got out okay, but then a car collided with ours, and then we both got hit.
Yeah, that really sucks, dude. I got hit by a driver back in December of last year. Just kind of the same thing. It was that toxic relationship so suffer. You know, we went to a bar. I wanted to go back to the house. He didn't want to go back to the house. I really didn't have a choice because I didn't have, like, you know, my wallet on me or nothing like that. And like a dumbass, I got into the car with somebody who was drunk and, you know, flirting with another girl and blaming it on me in the car ride back. And, you know, I was blamed for us getting rear-ended because putting negative energy into the car.
Mm-hmm.
But we got hit from behind, and I have sciatica and like a herniated disc that I've been working on, getting healed and stuff. And so I couldn't bartend. I couldn't really do anything. Like people don't understand, like being injured and you're going through stuff. Like you can't just get up and be the same person you are. And so, I started losing everything. I lost my house. I lost everything. I lost my car because I couldn't work. And, because I'm such a strong woman and independent, people weren't used to me being this weak. So I had a lot of people turn on me, too. So with this car wreck, it's just been a fucking pain in the ass. I can't do my belly dancing now, which sucks. But hopefully one day I'll be able to do it again with some fire. But dude, like that it changed my life as well, because it pushed me to do more interviews, to get up and get out, and to meet people. So that's really all I had left, was to be able to maybe bartend here or there, or to find like a basic job. But really, just to focus in promoting our trauma movie, because that's really that's my baby, that's my favorite. Like that was a bucket list I didn't even know I had. To be in a horror movie picked up by trauma. Really confident. Like, it's crazy. So, and I'm surrounded by a lot of, like, great horror artists. Like, I don't know if you know who Patrick Hart. I'm not sure what his location is, but he does all, like, horror art. He paints, like, masks and full-floor bodies. Like, he just did a Frankenstein and a Bride of Frankenstein. And then you have Casey Orr, who used to be with Splat. He's a good buddy of mine. He is also a gore artist. So, it's like you go to these conventions and you're hanging out with all your friends and all your family. That's pretty cool, But they really pushed me during this wreck too, because, there's just so much negativity out in this world. You got to find the positive in it. And hopefully, during research, you cut loose the toxic people and you end up gaining the positive like you. I swear I just put out like 20 people, and I've got like really friends that's been traveling across my state, doing the convention out there, and just kind of having my own soul journey, I guess you can say. And dude, like anywhere you want to go, you want to do an event down at the Margaritaville Beach in Pensacola, we could do an event out there. Like, I put together a lot of events and stuff too, so. I know right now, Dallas, Texas is about to do Texas Splat Weekend coming soon.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if I'll make it to that one, but really I go there and do interviews and stuff like that there. So maybe one day we can do two out there. I've been trying to get Loretta Rosemary. She was in Ross and Demons. She's one of my good girlfriends. And she's like, one of the Black female horse queens, and I've been trying to get her out there, so hopefully we're close, really close, but she's been a huge influence in my life.
Yeah.
I am talking fast. I'm excited.
Nice. There's a game I want to play. It's a game where I ask 4 silly questions, and after each one, you ask me the same question.
Okay.
Okay, Rose, are you ticklish?
Not really. Unless I'm getting a tattoo.
Really?
Yeah, it's so weird. I know. It's so weird. Like, there's this one place on my side.
Mm-hmm.
It tickles. It hurts, and I want to punch somebody. So, if people try to tickle me, like, I warn them. I'm like, look, if I hit you, I'm sorry. I'm not ticklish. But if I get a tattoo, it tickles me. So, yeah, I have a high pain tolerance.
Really?
Okay,
Oh.
so, yeah. Yeah, I do.
That's
I
hot.
do
That's actually really hot.
Yeah, yes it is. Yes it is. So, are you ticklish?
I am baby ticklish.
Oh, no, so anything touches, you just giggle.
Yeah, I have like a knee-jerk reaction to being tickled.
Where's your most ticklish spot on your body?
Either the soles of my feet or right around my belly button.
love belly buttons. Like, belly buttons are so, like, sexy to me.
Well, that's actually the next question. Do you have an innie or an outie?
I haven't any. I haven't I ever see anybody's belly buttons or they bring me their belly buttons, my finger is going in it. Especially if you have lint. I don't know. I'm fucking weird. And I like nipples. Nipples are. I like to look at people's nipples. I don't know.
Oh, can I send you a picture of mine?
Yeah, so my picture, obviously.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm like that too. I like to put my finger in belly buttons too. I've always been that way. I was like that like when I was like really really little. I used to do that to my cousins a lot and stuff.
I think I'm getting really good. You know, some people who laugh at me, I just want to put my finger. I don't know. Maybe it's like a penis envy thing. Because, you know, I love penis. I'm not a horror or anything. I love the male model. I think it's beautiful. Most men don't like it. Like what we call, but I think it's a beautiful thing. Especially nipples and nostrils.
I have a very
You have any or out?
I have a very deep innie, and I jokingly say that I have an outie and that I can butt fuck somebody with it.
That's awesome. It's kind of horny, huh?
Very much so.
That's great. Okay, what's the next question?
What color are your toenails painted?
Right now, they are frosty. They're like a white frost glitter.
Nice.
So I have I have disco ball toenails right now.
Nice.
What are yours?
They're not painted at the moment, but I've been painting my toenails since I was 13.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people that do that. I don't think it's fucking weird. I mean, it's good. You know, need to take care of themselves. And if they go to that specific effort to do their toenails, fucking rock on, man. Oh yeah. You're join the club. You're not gonna die. Other toenails.
Yeah. And finally, what do you think is the absolute worst stinky smell ever?
Oh god. The absolute worst. Well, before Peter and Michael crashed Mexico Beach in Florida, I think that was the worst. You know, I work in the medical field, and I don't really find things too disgusting. But yeah, when I was on that beach, oh god, I couldn't even. I was leaving there for like not even 5 minutes, and I was about to vomit.
Wait. What is it again?
Mexico Beach in Florida.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like the dead fish because there were so many dead animals and stuff in the Red Sea. I guess, or maybe the plants that's in the Red Sea that was exported before the hurricane trashed everything.
Yeah.
Like that was the most horrible stench I've ever smelled in my life. And I got a pretty strong stomach, but that just, so I would say Mexico Beach, Florida was the most nastiest smell I ever felt in my life. Unless you're like a really nasty dude and you don't wash your balls in your ass, then that's pretty nasty too.
Yeah. Oh God, that's the absolute worst.
Cheese balls. I feel like cheese balls. I'm like, yeah. You think you, like, guys just can't wash your balls and you're pissed and you hang out with the girl for the first time, it's just not good. You never know.
Yeah. For me, the worst smell is when, after I got out of the hospital, I had a pretty bad case of athlete's foot.
Oh, didn't you turn that for you?
Well, they didn't take my socks off that I had the last month I was there. They didn't take them off for like a whole month, and when I did, they were hella black and everything. It was just gross. It went away within 6 months though.
That's crazy. That was really, like, why would they do that? I mean, that's kind of a
Because that's San Francisco General Hospital for you.
I'm sure. I did medical insurance in Cody for 8 years. And that was like the most unhealthiest environment I've ever been in. Like, you know, honestly, healthcare on that level, like, I'm not going to do it after that. It's just, that's like the worst ever. I work with medical devices and I do tech work. So I'm beautiful, smart, and student, but I couldn't, I was not a big fan of that end of the medical world. So, no, thank you. And I can't believe that they would just let me sit there and, like, kind of waste away. You know, I mean, what were they doing? Trying to rack up more bills or something?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
It's okay. Maybe take care of you out there. Ladies, you can take care of my family. Hello, I don't think you understand how hard it is to, do what we done is just estimated strength and confidence in yourself. I think it was just being fucking selfish. Like with the magazine, I have to do a lot of live streams. And I think it really out just looking at myself in the camera, like, oh god, that's where we gotta criticize ourselves. But, I'm more behind the camera when I'm modeling, I'm comfortable. When I'm filming, I'm like a dork, and I just know you, and I'm like petty, and I'm just like, I'm so weird about stuff. It's like, personally, you're like, you kind of just shut yourself off,
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm packing up my car while we're talking. I gotta drive to Dallas this evening and celebrate my new job and get with my director out there and talk about some work. So hopefully maybe you guys will be seeing some more blood all over my body. That would be great. That movie that I was doing, the trauma movie, they gave me my own pet zombie and I had a piano and I got to make out with a chick. And my friend Kovac, we still do a lot of horror film work together. She's also in that music video. I have a group of girls called the Metal Dance that I talk about, that are top-notch quality females that I see fit. And, we use them for extras or for, like, modeling gigs or, promotions and stuff like that. I'd like to see a group of girls, with me one day at the convention. But, just kind of walk around and meet people and stuff, too. I don't know. The whole industry, to me, is just like, there's no limit. There's everything that you can do. You just have to, not only know the right people, but celebrate the right people, Find the people that are worth celebrating with you and blow shit up to that them. And when we go to New Jersey, just getting that recharge of energy, it was just amazing. And I was just out here making some costumes and stuff like that. But I could do some burlesque shows and pour some blood on me. Yes. So what do you have going on for the Halloween weekend?
I don't really celebrate it in terms of costumes anymore because I've kind of outgrown it just for right now. I mean, I'll go back to it eventually, but because I'm over here.
You want to be a slutty nurse?
What's up?
You don't want to be a slutty nurse?
I would, but not while I'm living in Reading because this is a very conservative place. I'm just here to help my mom out until she retires next year and stuff.
Okay.
But when I move to Los Angeles and stuff, yeah, I'll be fucking dressing up again and having a fun old time.
Heck yeah, well, don't come to Texas. Living here only for 15 years, like a little Ron. I love my Texas family. I love my Texas film people. Most people know who I am. But, people here don't like people from California. There's this one I read with yesterday that told someone from Cali, they're like, I wish you guys would fall off into the sea. Go back to Cali, why are you here? Like, it's just not even, I don't know what it is, like some competition with people. All people in competition here, it's not like a huge, unless you're in certain groups or whatever, it's not like a huge support system.
Yeah.
Really, especially for people from Cali, they just things like label you. So like my people that are on my page are my people, and they don't want to get the fuck off. But for the most part, people know me and my mouth, and that if they don't like me, it's not going to hurt me one bit. It might hurt for a little bit if I really love you, but it's not going to let go of me, and that just means you have actually your money. But I'm looking to get back to California myself, hopefully by next year. So that's kind of my goal. I'm working my butt off right now, getting accustomed to all these things.
Yeah.
I'm down in South Texas. I kind of had to give Dallas a break for a while. And, things were really things. And I didn't leave. I felt like I was going to, die by the hands of some guy. So almost happened it could happen again. So I just decided to kind of recharge myself and hide out for a little bit. And just doing that, it opened more doors for me. So I'm glad I made those choices,
Yeah.
And I think moving back to California is going to be more badass. Especially if you have podcasts out there, because I don't really know of anyone out there that is doing one, really. There's those sisters because I know they have like some TV show and their own thing going on, but they got asked to interview. I know they come to Texas a lot, but other than that, and Glenn Cochran, he's making his comeback and bringing Vampire back to life. Congratulations on that, Johnny, because, that's a huge deal, I love when people bring the dead back to life.
Yeah. So,
I would love to.
when do you want to interview me?
Dude, shit. Let me fucking write down some questions, and we can do something in the magazine for maybe like December, like, have you send some pictures or something, get some details, and do like a magazine interview. If you want to do like an interview like this, we could do that for, the live feed and stuff like that. I do a lot of PR work. Obviously, I won't be charging you, but I do like a lot of PR work for a lot of like bands and stuff. Like I'm going to be going on tour with Venom Inc. and the Danzig show that's happening. So that's going to be Colorado, November 3rd. It's going to be in LA. So I'll be out there doing photography, doing a documentary piece, doing stuff like that. So I'll be in LA soon. But I just got off the tour not long ago with Bill H. Ensemble and the Illegals. Good people there, love to death, good fam. They supported me a lot. And I've toured with so many different bands, and I've just been supporting them, so they've been really helping push me, more into traveling, and they get into the horror and gore scene. There's just like a cross connection of people that didn't know each other existed.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll be out there pretty soon. But it would be cool, maybe like December, maybe January, it just depends. I'll get in touch with Jeffrey and we can kind of talk about it and, see a little shout out and promote you and stuff. That would be cool.
Yeah, nothing offends me. You can ask me anything, including my sex life, anything.
Oh yeah, shit. I don't even have a sex life right now, and I kind of like it. I've been celibate for a while. I figured since I'm driving men crazy, I better, not open my legs for anyone anytime soon because I can't handle all that shit no more. I lost, my soulmate, almost died by, and then I lost the best friend of 8 years, and he became a stalker, and, it's been crazy. So I'm not really, I'm not looking to have sex with anybody. I'm not looking to jump into a relationship. I'm just really trying to stay focused on my career and
Me too.
what the universe brings me. Yeah, but dude, I love sex. I'll talk about sex all day long, damn it. I used to be a sexpert for upscale toy boutique in Fort Worth. So I was trained with Jimmy Jane and Doc Johnson and the Rabbit Company and all the oils and the toys and all that. So, I'm pretty open about all of that stuff as well.
When did you lose your virginity? When did you lose your virginity?
Oh, God. When did I lose my virginity? I lost my virginity when I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I ended up with a baby and divorced by 21. I just tell everybody I was raised Catholic. Yeah.
I was, yeah.
I was really raised Catholic. Yeah, so that kind of happened there. Yeah, it was good. It was either I waited till the prom or when I got married, so either one of those happened. I ended up getting married while I was 6 months pregnant.
Yeah. Have you ever been with a girl?
I have. I've been with a few girls throughout my lifetime. The last girl I was with was I've kissed a few since then, but I haven't like had a threesome like since 2009. So,
Oh.
there's times where I wish I was in a relationship with someone that was open, but there's times a lot of take this thing and they just sort of use their own egos instead of doing it the right way, where you're respecting the other woman and the relationship that you're in with women is allowing this to happen. So there's a lot of etiquette and there's a lot of things that need to be, communicated with your significant other. And then you don't have control of that situation unless, you're gone and this is okay with it. But if she's a dog, then you gotta let her take control, and I promise you'll have a lot more fun that way.
Yeah, I've been with guys. I've had threesomes. I'm a total exhibitionist and a freak.
Ooh, I'm a fetish. I do a lot of fetish stuff.
Me too.
I do like spankings and stuff too, so if anybody's interested in the spanking session, just email me at Meowstress official. Get me up where you're at for the costume. Time isn't free anymore, but I love the fetish world, and latex, I love latex, so there's a latex brand out there that wants me to model and represent the Meowstress. It's really hard. The spankings on my feet, and like the whips and the cops and the paddles, and it's just like an energy connection type thing. Like, I'm not there to torture somebody or to like hurt somebody, but if somebody trusts me enough to give them some physical pleasure and pay for it, I'm down.
Yeah.
There's no touching.
I'm into foot fetishism. I like to smell feet. I like to suck toes. All that.
What? Nice. Hey, dude, I got pretty sweet. I have a lot of people that love my feet, and I have a couple customers that pay me to do photo shoots, personal photo shoots with my feet and stuff. So I got some cute toes, some cute feet. So, and it's my erotic zone too. So like, if I get massages or like my toes done, it just drives me crazy.
Oh, I want to see those.
I'll send you a picture.
That would be great. That'd be great.
Go in. I got a 3.5 hour drive to Dallas with 2 cats. Oh, and it's going to be a long journey. So I put some stuff in the car. But I'd love to catch up again. We can do some more fun things, talk more in depth.
Yes.
Some stuff.
Yes, I would love that. I would just absolutely love it. And before you go, I want to send you off with a joke.
Okay.
Cinderella is getting ready for the ball, and she's on her period. And the fairy godmother gives her a magic tampons and says, you have to be home by midnight or they'll turn into a pumpkin. And Cinderella says, okay, fairy godmother, I will. 12:30 rolls around, she hasn't shown up, so fairy godmother's pacing around, angry. Cinderella walks in, completely drunk, stumbling around, and fairy godmother says, where were you? What happened? You're supposed to be home by midnight. And Cinderella's like, I'm so sorry, fairy godmother. I met this great guy. We danced all night. He has 2 first names and 2 last names. I forgot what the last 2 were, but the first 2 were Peter Peter. You like that? You like that?
I like Peter. Peter's a person.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you are such an awesome person. Thank you so much for investing some time with me.
Oh, thank you.
Like I said, I'd like to talk more dirty talk next time. That'd be cool.
Yeah, let's do another one where we're just dirty the whole time. I would love that. That'd be awesome. Thank you so much,
Oh, yeah.
Rose.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. My reception here kind of gets spotty. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You know, I was one of my actress girlfriends this year next time too, so you know, we can play, and talk shit and be naughty. I'm down for that. I hope everyone's down for that.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be fucking awesome. Well,
Mm-hmm.
thank you for taking the time tonight, and be careful driving to Dallas.
Thank you. Yeah, it's kind of crappy weather out here, so I'm not looking forward to it. But thank you, love. You have a good night, and I can't wait to hear the show and eat the food.
Absolutely. You have a great night.
You too, babe. Bye.
Okay. Bye. Well, there you have it. Kitten Rose Ramirez. Ain't she a sweetheart? Thank you so much, Rose. Oh my God, you're like the naughty bestie I always wanted, and this is the beginning of having one. And you are fucking awesome. I'll have you back on again soon, and we'll take it from there. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying there's no shame in living in the past because the present sucks. Later, dudes!